you're Cochrane right now. This is a weekly podcast all about the best town in the world, Cochrane, Alberta. My name's Eric Ruddle, joined by Lauren Meister. Lauren, we've been a little bit lazy. We haven't been pushing out the content. So we have a lot to catch up on with everything going on in Cochrane, including a man from Cochrane who was stuck in a war zone.
Just incredible. I can't even wrap my head around what he must have been feeling. So Tim Sanborn, we first learned of his story close to 2 weeks ago. So he works over at Hunterwood. He's lived in Cochrane for a long time. He's got a wife. He's got a couple of kids here in Cochrane. And he went over to Sudan for work. And he's been there a few times.
Oh, nice. Right. Routine trip.
Totally. And then all of a sudden he was 2 days ahead of heading back home to Cochrane. And it became a war zone. Gunfire, bombs, all of the things. Something that you would see on a movie. Not something that we typically see here in Cochrane.
Yeah, he managed to stick his phone outside of his hotel window, and it was literally just like pew, 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 boom!
Yeah.
Outside of his window. And, of course, in a war zone, everything kind of shuts down. So he was just stuck. So we learn of this, and Noel in our newsroom, he is just the best reporter in the world. He's like, I got to talk to Tim. So run us through how that kind of goes behind the scenes for a reporter to put together a story like this.
Yeah, so it was actually kind of a bit of a combined effort at first. So I actually first started reaching out to Hunterwood.
Nice.
So I was making calls and whatnot, and that didn't really land me anywhere. And then actually we were lucky enough that Tim's family reached out to us. So then we were able to get his WhatsApp information. So anyway, so we started with a phone call trying to record him, but the phone lines were basically down in Sudan.
Shocking.
And of course, he's in this hotel with no air conditioning and just limited cell service and whatnot. So we had to figure out a way for Noel to record an interview through WhatsApp, and we couldn't really do that with our existing phone systems and whatnot.
We don't have it built into our radio station,
Yeah.
a WhatsApp access. So honestly, it was pretty willy-nilly, but we just took a mic like this, and I got Noel's phone on speaker, and we just held it up there.
Just held it to the microphone.
Because
kind of old school.
We needed his story. We needed to hear from him and just the adventure he's gone on. So he was stuck in that hotel, gunfire, no air conditioning, no service kind of thing. Then they're like, hey, Tim, we're going to get you out. But to get you out, you have to go about 800 kilometers. So it's like driving from Cochrane to Vancouver and not really the Trans-Canada.
No,
right?
I can't even imagine. And just navigating that in a country where you don't speak the language, things are unstable politically, it's dangerous.
There's 1,500 Canadians there as well. So it's not like Tim was a very special case. There's lots of people trying to get out.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's Friday morning as we're recording this. He is coming home.
Yes. So actually, Noel came in overnight. So it's Friday morning. Noel has been here at the station since before 3 o'clock this morning because he actually was in contact with Tim because Tim did this 12-hour boat ride. He's in Saudi Arabia right now because he took this long boat ride, and he was actually able to have some cell service. So Noel connected with him on the phone, had a great interview, and we're playing this interview all day long today. Noel also connected with his wife, Nicole, as well. And if all goes well, this is the goal. Tim is hoping to be back home in his own bed with his family by Sunday. Here in Cochrane.
How amazing would your bed feel after? Because not only was he in a war zone, no air conditioning, he was probably bored out of his tree for days, just in like a box of a room. Do not leave. Do not go outside. There's stuff going on.
Well, it's not like you could just flick through the TV. Like nothing on TV would have been in English.
If they had TV.
If they did, who knows?
Right? And
no
internet.
air conditioning. And I mean, I would imagine it's quite hot there.
Yeah, we'd love to have him in the studio here just to kind of talk about those things. But he is coming home. He is returning to Cochrane, and just such a relief of a crazy story that's been going on in town. And another crazy story. Finally, we know what's going on with the Holy Spirit School. So it's on the east end of Cochrane. Of course, Holy Spirit went up to Fireside. Brand new fancy building.
Yeah.
And then Rocky View Schools is like, hey, we're going to put this into something. Let's have some public meetings. And they did. And then it turned out no one was really happy with any of the options.
There wasn't a great option that was going to be a great solution for everyone, right?
But there was one that everyone kind of assumed was the front runner, and that is honestly what happened. What went down?
So as of the fall, CCA, so Cochrane Christian Academy, will be moving K-8, their whole school, over to the old Holy Spirit, to the Powell Street School.
Because Mitford School is split in half right now. If you didn't know, half is Mitford Public School and half is the CCA. Like you walk in and you see two different hallways.
Yeah.
So I was kind of excited for Mitford. I'm like, you get your school back. Congratulations. Not quite the case, right?
Yeah. So now there's going to be a French immersion program. But really, as it stands right now, there's not a ton of French immersion kids moving into that school. So it's really only going to be one class.
Yeah.
So it's only going to be about 30 kids from Glenbow who are in grade 4 right now. They're going to be in grade 5 in fall. So one class. But then every year it'll keep expanding because it'll be another class and it'll continue to grow. But for this coming fall, it's going to be an extra 30 kids. So it's going to be, they're going to have some elbow room over at Mitford.
Nice.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest social groups here in Cochrane is truly the moms of Cochrane. You guys have so many Facebook groups and WhatsApp chats of, I don't even know these exist. Really, my wife brings them up. I'm like, where did you see that? Anyway, you are connected to them, and that's kind of what I'm interested in. What's the moms, the parents thinking about this big change?
Well, it's kind of interesting because before this news officially broke, officially, I kind of already knew about it because I'm on a chat with about 6 other moms, and one of my mom friends had a friend who must work at Rocky View School, so she knew about it ahead of time. And all of my mom friends have kids in different schools, and so I put my phone down. I didn't look at it for a couple of hours. I picked it up, and I had like 65 different messages because all of the moms they all have a reaction. Right? They all have a different take on this because some are pleased, some have mixed feelings, some are really upset. It could have affected my children. It's not going to. So one of the options that was on the table, that is not going to be the case. So,
but it does affect your children because you even mentioned your son has a friend and he's affected by it. So they might not be hanging out as much anymore, right? There's such a spider web effect.
It's true. Yeah. No, it's true. There's a ripple effect for everyone because, again, there wasn't a perfect solution.
No.
And it's going to be interesting to see how many years this solution is going to be in place too, because for the foreseeable future, there's no new schools coming to Cochrane.
I know, and I saw the stat today. We're like 96% full. Like Cochrane is 96% full. And spoiler alert, a lot of people move here, and there's a lot of young people starting families, having kids. It might become a problem, but that's future Cochrane's problem.
That's, maybe next year, the year after problem.
Exactly. And some amazing kids in Cochrane, including Emily. So kind of give me a rundown of Emily's story. You had a knock at your door earlier this week with a young lady trying to get something?
Yeah. So I heard the doorbell. I answered the door, and then all of a sudden it was Emily at my door. And I kind of know Emily. Nice. She's my neighbor's child. And I was like, Emily, what's going on here? And she had a petition in her hand, and she is on a mission. She wants to get a new playground for our neighborhood. So in our neighborhood, it's a lot of young families, and the playground is not made for anybody over the age of about 2.
Oh, it's like a baby guy.
Totally.
Which is great. It's for babies.
For babies, yeah. But again, if you're over 2, you can't even use the swings. It's got like baby swings.
Really?
It's got tiny little playground equipment. Yeah. It's just not set up for anybody other than a toddler. Yeah. And it's a growing community, right? Kids are growing up, right? Yeah. They just physically are. They get bigger. So she just wants to get as many signatures as she can to try to get her support. She's even offering to help fundraise for a new playground as well. And once she gets enough signatures, she wants to take that to town council.
That's so cool. My favorite part of this story is, though, she didn't want your signature. She wanted your kids' signatures.
Yeah, she wants kids' signatures in the neighborhood. And she's 10 years old, just trying to make a difference. And I was talking to her mom, and her mom said that, she's been talking about this idea for a while. And she's a go-getter. She just is so excited about this.
That is so cool. I hate being such a Scrooge, though, right? Like, we've heard about how much playgrounds cost in Cochrane. About $500,000 usually. So here's hoping.
Hey,
fingers crossed.
You never know.
Right? You never know. Right? Yeah. That's a couple of bottle drives away, but she could do it. She could do it.
If she's motivated enough, I have no doubt.
Exactly. And you also talked to a family about a younger boy. out in Bearspaw. So their son was born with an extremely rare condition that makes him unable to go outside.
Yeah, so it's a rare genetic deficiency, and he's one of 9 people ever in medical history. So ever, like
how do you even catch
ever.
that when it's only 8 people before?
Yeah, so basically they had to do a bunch of genetic testing right from when he was just a newborn baby.
Yeah.
They actually did genetic testing in Canada. They weren't able to diagnose him. They had to actually do genetic testing in Finland, where they have very specialized testing, and that's kind of where they narrowed it all down. But he's got this condition, and he's got a bunch of different symptoms, but one of the main ones is the fact that he cannot be in the sunlight. He gets severe burns to his skin. So they have all of their windows covered with a protective film that filters out all UVA and UVB. His mom's on the hunt for childcare, which is extremely difficult because, he can't go on outdoor playtime,
exactly.
right?
And they have windows.
They have windows. So it's quite a struggle for their family right now.
Now, I don't know if you have this answer for me, but my wife asked, so does he never, do they drive during the day? Do they, right? Does he just not go outside? Does he have coverings of a sort? Or, because he's still a young guy, I think 22 months,
yeah,
right?
so he's just a little toddler.
He could be in a cart with coverings or not so much.
Yeah, so she said that they are able to kind of cover him up when they do have to take him outside, but typically they only go outside in the morning before the UV gets to a certain level, and then after sunset. And then they do their grocery shopping in the city where they can park underground. They go to the mall where they can park underground. They don't have to see the sunlight, basically. And because she said even being in the shade, in a shaded area in a playground, that's not enough because there's still UV rays coming down, basically.
So we should use him as our poster child for something we've been working on, trying to get underground parking here in Cochrane.
Yes.
Right? We don't know. There's no businesses with underground parking. We got to think of this little guy.
Yeah, I got to think about Jake.
Jake
right?
needs underground parking.
Yeah.
So Garmin's doing a lot of building up. Maybe they need to do it. And
make some tunnels in Cochrane.
Oh, there you go. Plus
cool.
15 underground.
Yes.
For Jake.
That'd be cool.
And we got to do something really cool earlier this week. So if you didn't know, I've now started waking up a little bit earlier. Lauren and I are doing the morning show on 91.5 Cochrane now, which is super fun, and I'm sure I'm not annoying you at all. But
we do spend a lot of time together.
Exactly. We got the opportunity, so it's rare for us to be on the forefront of giving back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we help people announce and showcase that they're giving back. But this week we got to go with $10,000 to schools. And what were we giving them for?
We gave them out to local band programs at all 3 of the high schools. Yeah. So just what a cool opportunity, to go and talk to these teachers who you could just see their eyes light up when they talked about the opportunities that the students, the one teacher, April, over at Cochrane High, they were about to embark on this huge trip to Vancouver the very next day.
Or were they going to Halifax?
Halifax.
It's funny because all the 3 music people were going on adventures.
They all had different trips. Yeah. It's hard to keep track. But they were leaving. We saw her early in the morning. The next morning, they were leaving at 3 in the morning. So they were scrambling, trying to get everything all ready to go. But they were so excited. And just hearing about all the things that they do, all the shows they do, the productions that they do, it's just such a cool experience.
And I just love because, yes, they do some amazing shows and all the teaching, but it gets lost on you once you leave high school how important that band room and that space is to students. Because even when we were handing out money and stuff, when we were in the band room, kids were that's their safe space, right? That is their area. And a kind of recurring theme was the sports always get so much attention.
It's true.
Right? Everybody loves the sports of the high schools. Yeah, of course. But these band people are doing such great work, and sometimes they need a little bit of the spotlight.
And it's nice to highlight that.
Yeah. So here's hoping they spend that $10,000 wisely. I suggested they take limos on their adventures. So good thing you don't give me money.
I mean, that'd be pretty fun.
And hopefully these band people grow. The whole point is giving them money so then we eventually play them on the radio station as superstars.
Well, yeah.
Just like Tim and the Glory Boys.
Yes.
So a huge Cochrane concert came in and sold out on a Wednesday night. I'll be honest, Lauren and myself were like, Oof. Wednesday night in
Well,
Cochrane.
and it was a busy Wednesday night because we had the free community movies going on that night as well. Like, it was just a bumping night.
And the Oilers hockey game.
Yes.
So we were like, oh, man, are people going to come to a concert on a Wednesday night? And you proved that we will, because you sold out the entirety of the Cochrane Lions Event Center, 450 people.
That's crazy.
On a Wednesday.
That's, wow.
For Tim and the Glory Boys. And we actually got to talk to them. They were just a bunch of cool guys riding around on one wheels.
I know. As soon as they pulled up, I could see through the window, they pulled up on their one wheels, and I had to do a double take. I was like, is that them? That's them. Like, that's fun. And they were just so much fun to chat with.
And it was super cute because I have a one wheel myself. So I was like, oh, that's so cool. And they're like, you should come on a ride with us. But they're so cool. They're not wearing helmets. They're not wearing any gear. I ride around in a helmet and wrist. And so I'm just the dweeb being like, hi, guys, let's go on a ride.
But who's the cool one? Who's going to be laughing when they fall, right?
Exactly. Safety. But they say that's what they do. They just ride around these communities they don't know.
Yeah.
And they just
because of course, they're on a big tour bus and they're touring all over Canada right now. And they don't tow a vehicle behind their tour bus. They just have their little one wheels. Like, they just like to save and be nice to the environment.
And one really cool thing that I loved about their concert that is almost rare here in town. Most of our concerts are 18 plus, right? They are meant for adults and they're Friday nights and everyone's having a good time.
Yeah.
This one, there was so many kids there. And the common theme was this is their first concert. And they put on one heck of a show. So
they
that
really
was really
did.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the next one is Dwayne Steele doing George Jones. Ryan Lindsay's coming in as well. There's going to be a live DJ for that one as well. And I just love this trend of concerts, like, and not just like, oh, it's a community. Like, these guys are stars.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I feel like, because, we're having more and more concerts. I don't remember having this many concerts in Cochrane before COVID. Do you?
No.
Yeah.
Like,
so this is pretty
we
cool.
started at the radio station in 2019. So that's when we really became dialed in with everything going on in town. But honestly, I only thought concerts happened at Canada Day.
I know. Like, I don't think I ever went to a concert in Cochrane before working at the radio station here.
So really, the concerts are coming to Cochrane because of us.
That's the only explanation. Because we first brought Doc Walker, and it's just a ripple since then.
What I find interesting, though, is it's only country shows right now. Are we going to start to see, like, rock seems pretty easy. Like, would you see a pop artist show up in Cochrane?
I don't know.
I have no...
We're a country town. We're a western town.
And the Lions Event Center is great for those intimate, like, guitar-y acoustics.
Yeah, because it's not a huge venue, right?
So how would, like, a pop person with, like, let's go.
Yeah.
I would go to it. I think that sounds like a blast.
I feel like that would be more appropriate for, like, an outdoor setting, like Canada Day or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or over at the Lions grounds or something.
Yeah. Maybe we could get Katy Perry.
Oh, totally. We totally have enough seating for
We'll
her.
get her on the phone.
Yeah.
But that's everything that's been going on in Cochrane. You can, of course, grab this podcast on all your favorite podcast services. And until next week, we'll do one next week, Lauren. We're back on track.
100%.
We're back on track. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yes.